not an answering question period right here.
Why would they file in secret and be okayed by commissioners?
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Why would they want to do it secretly first? Anybody know? For the what?
If you lived within 5 miles. Tell me, and we sure we're not, I didn't have you to post back in 5 miles, I live within 5 miles, so then I will talk to the manager and say, who are address and name, I'm going to the mail, 3 times as slow as it's ever been. That's what they do. Yeah, you filed and then they sent the notice.
Huh?
Ooh. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Sorry about that, everyone. And all the chaos. I don't know what happened to the second page. Okay, so as I was saying, if anyone has any written testimony or evidence to provide during the public hearing, it will need to be marked as an exhibit by the court reporter. Also, I ran up the stairs. After all testimony has been heard regarding a given case, the applicant will be permitted to present rebuttal comments not to exceed 5 minutes. If the Planning and Zoning Commission has questions for any applicant or presenter, answers will not count toward the time limit. It is possible for the Planning and Zoning Commission to decide to move a new business issue to unfinished business and vote on it the same night. In accordance with Article 14, the Planning and Zoning Commission must consider proposed amendments or rezonings and then make a recommendation to the County Commission. The County Commission will hold a public hearing at a later date prior to taking any action. The County Commission makes the final decision regarding any proposed amendment or rezoning. At the conclusion of all questions, comments, and discussion concerning each case, the public hearing for that case will conclude and the Planning and Zoning Commission will proceed. Any decision by the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve or reject a conditional use permit may be appealed to the Board of Zoning Adjustment anytime within 90 days. Applications for such an appeal may be acquired from the department offices during normal business hours. Any decision by the County Commission to approve changes to the Unified Land Use Regulations or to approve a rezoning may be appealed to the Circuit Court of Franklin County. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we should receive a copy of the commissioners of the October minutes. I'll take a motion if there's no additions or corrections.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 21st meeting as submitted.
I'll second.
And a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We also had November's minutes to look at. So I'll take a motion for any, unless there's any corrections or additions.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the November 18th minutes as submitted.
I'll second that.
I have a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, minutes is written. Is there anyone presenting wishing to address the commission at this time? Just to make sure, anything to address the commission at this time will not be a matter of the public record, though. You will have it at each file. You will have an opportunity to speak. Okay, Nicole, can we move? I'm going to change the rotate a little bit. I'm going to go to file 250265. Can you give us the details?
Sure. So this applicant is Tyler Scott, and he is requesting a conditional use permit to operate a motor vehicle service business. The property is located at 1265 North Service Road, approximately 300 feet east of the intersection of Prairie Dell Road and North Service Road in the Central Township. Facts. The total area of the subject property is approximately 3.03 acres. The zoning of the property is W. In this district, motor vehicle service, to include installation of parts, repair, and maintenance, requires a conditional use permit. The surrounding properties are zoned W, but properties to the west are zoned A. The property has access to the North Service Road, which is a public state-maintained roadway. The property is surrounded primarily by low-density residential and undeveloped properties, but the property adjacent to the east is commercial. Article 13 requires Type B screening buffers between the subject property and the residential properties to the west and northwest. Buffers are not required between the subject property and the properties to the north and east. The property is currently vacant, but the applicant is proposing to construct a 4,032 square foot shop with 3 bay doors. Article 12 requires motor vehicle service businesses to provide 3 parking spaces per bay door plus 1 space per 2 employees. The proposed business will require 10 parking spaces plus a designated loading and unloading area at least 12 foot by 55 feet in size. The applicant has indicated that there will be 2 employees. The applicant has proposed operations to be Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Staff comments. All conditions shall be completed within 1 year of approval unless otherwise stated. Failure to meet all conditions may result in the application expiring. Any buildings used or built in connection with this CUP will need to be approved by the Franklin County Building Department for a commercial building. All new and/or existing entrances onto North Service Road will need to be examined by MoDOT for a commercial entrance. Planning and zoning shall receive a copy of the permit prior to the applicant commencing any activities on the property. Parking and parking service shall be provided in accordance with Article 12 of the Franklin County Unified Land Use Regulations. Screening buffers shall be installed in accordance with Article 13 of the Franklin County Unified Land Use Regulations. Anything stored outside, including vehicles, shall be behind a site-proof stockade-type fence. Planning staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission review the following items for potential conditions: hours of operation and number of employees.
Is a file presenter here?
Yes.
Please come forward. State your name and address and spell your name, please.
Tyler Robert Scott, Tyler Robert Scott.
You need to be sworn in, too.
Oh,
Yes, that's
oh,
right.
sorry.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And Mr. Scott, I'm sorry, but you'll also have to write your name on that sign-in sheet.
Okay.
Thank you.
For the address, is that my current address or the property address?
Your address.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then I need to state my address, you said?
Yeah. No, you just go ahead and
Okay.
make your presentation.
Okay. I would like to open up a diesel repair shop, heavy duty, for semi trucks, dump trucks, farm tractors, including building hydraulic hoses for nearby areas. As you can see from the picture there, it is I-44 road frontage. It's just down from the picture is AH exit. There is no house from the exit to the property. Just across the street from the property, there is also a small diesel repair shop for light duty diesels operating under CUP also. I wanted to be a local business. I'm not trying to attract in a ton of like semis off 44. Sorry. What was it? Oh, it's only like 7 minutes from Washington exit, 4 minutes from Union exit, 2 minutes from St. Clair exit. So it's very convenient for anyone that's local to just jump on the interstate, get off the AH exit, and be at our residence for repairs. And we specialize in heavy duty engine overhauls. So, Let's see if there's any other. As she stated, it's just me and my business partner. We've got a well-developed local. We've established with a bunch of local dump truck businesses and stuff like that already working on them at their place, but we'd like to build our own shop to
Yep.
proceed.
Okay.
Sorry if I'm a little nervous.
No problem.
Didn't know this many people were.
The commissioners have any questions?
I was wondering, have you purchased the property yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That was another thing I forgot to state. So when we purchased or put an offer in on the property, it was actually zoned. It showed it was zoned commercial, and for a small business and opportunity. When we called planning and zoning and talked to them, that's when we were told it was W, but they told us we could go ahead and get a CUP permit and try applying for that.
Okay.
So.
In your statement here, your hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 7 to 5.
Yes.
Is that a little restrictive for you? If you need to work till 6 or 7 in the evening, I get that.
Mhm.
And if you want to expand those hours to where it may be realistic for what you need to do to keep your customers going.
Yeah, we would definitely work later if we had to get a dump truck or semi or something up and running.
But we need when we grant a conditional use permit, we do put in the hours of operation.
Okay.
Which typically you would expect to work more than 8 hours a day. And if you want to throw a half day Saturday or something like that in there, you can sure do that.
Okay.
You're in a commercial area right there.
Yeah, I understand that. I still want to have family time though too.
Oh yeah,
So-
absolutely. No, absolutely.
So,
The problem for you, though, is that if you do need to work late or do need to work on a Saturday, if you state hours of operation that don't include those times,
okay.
you're expected to adhere to what you told us.
Okay.
So you might want to expand.
So would I have to have another meeting for that, or
No.
We can do that this
You can
evening.
do that tonight.
so I could just do that tonight? Yeah, I mean, definitely if we had to work a Saturday or Sunday to get something up and running, we would. So I don't want to be up all hours of the night bothering anybody in the area or anything like that. There's not really anybody really around us that much, but so yeah, if possible, I would like to extend the hours a little bit later, I guess.
Okay.
What do you think, 9 o'clock, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday, and then 7 to 5 on Saturday?
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, you go with that. Sundays, you want to throw anything out there, or just leave Sundays off the board?
Put Sundays on, I guess, in case.
Okay, we'll do 7 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
All good?
I think so.
Good.
Thank you.
Is there any additional questions for?
Sorry.
Yes.
Are we going to ask him to hold that 2 employees?
Oh,
The same thing?
I wanted to talk about that
Because that
too.
might be something that we're going to have to talk about again.
Yeah. Use your mic.
Now would be the time if you want to change that 2 employee thing on your, as well as the hours.
Okay.
It's fine to put 5, even if you don't intend that at this time,
Okay.
but we don't want to hamper you for the future.
Okay. I understand. Yeah. Right now it's just me and my business partner, and we're just small business trying to get it going. But yeah, if I could put more, that'd be great. But
Are you comfortable with 5?
yeah. Yes.
We would like you to grow. Any additional questions for the gentleman? No, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Move to old business.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes,
Still need-
I know. Yeah. Yep. Is anybody in the audience wishing to speak in in favor of the applicant? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the applicant? Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any other additional comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move file 250265 to old business.
Chairman, just real quick, I want to point out there's a 30-second delay in the room back there. I'm going to go over there and make sure they understand this is their opportunity to provide testimony in case
Okay.
anyone's in there for this file.
Okay.
So we're adding business hours Saturday, Monday through Friday, and then
She is thorough.
Saturday.
Yeah.
5 employees. That's the only change.
Yep.
And where this is located, it seems like fairly
Oh, it is nice, yeah.
If it ever gets real busy, the trucks parked outside.
and we need that service. There's not enough of them.
Okay, she's good. All right, Jim, she's good.
So Nicole, did you get those changes to the CUP?
Yes, I mean, no motion has been made yet, but yes, I have noted the things that you guys discussed, and no one in the overflow room was here to speak.
Okay, I'll take that motion again.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve file 250265, Tyler Scott. Make a motion to move that to old business.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, move to unfinished business. Okay, Nicola, tell us on file 250262.
Thank you, Chairman. The applicant is Doug and Francine Cordy. The applicant requests to rezone 2 parcels from the O zoning district to the B zoning district. The properties are located at 456 Highway M at the intersections of Highway M, Jefferson Street, and Elm Street in Bowles Township. Facts. The total area for the rezoning is approximately 0.33 acres. The zoning of this property is O. The applicant would like to rezone to the B district. The intent of the B district is to bring shopping, the workplace, and home together by allowing a mixed use of all types of residential density, low, medium, and/or high, and most forms of commercial development. The surrounding properties are zoned O. The subject parcels are primarily surrounded by low-density residential or undeveloped land, though there is a post office and a fire station west of the site across Highway M. The subject parcels are lots 7 and 8 of the subdivision Whitset and Merton's addition to Villa Ridge, which appears to have been recorded in 1901. The western parcel, Lot 7, appears to have access to Highway M and Jefferson Street. The eastern parcel, Lot 8, has access to Jefferson Street and Elm Street, but while Elm Street is platted, it does not appear to have been constructed. There is also a platted alley that runs between the subject parcels, but it also does not appear to have been constructed. The assessor's report for the western parcel indicates that there is an existing shed with a basement. The applicant applied to rezone the property in 2008 and 2006, but both requests were denied. Staff comments. Rezonings are allowed in our regulations due to the ever-changing conditions that exist in the county and elsewhere. According to Article 14, Section 321, any such change must promote the health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare of Franklin County by conserving and protecting property and building values, by securing the most economical use of land, and facilitating the adequate provision of public improvements in accordance with the master plan adopted by Franklin County.
All right, thank you. Is the applicant here? State your name.
Good evening. I'm Michael Yenzer. I represent Doug Corty and his wife.
Okay.
You actually.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Can you have me spell your last name?
Yenzer. Good evening. As I've stated, I'm Michael Yenzer and I'm representing Doug Cordy. He is currently looking to rezone his property from Zone O to Zone B. Due to the lot shape, which is a 50 by 300 foot lot, and the lack of public utility available to Mr. Cordy on that lot, he's severely restricted in his ability to develop the property under the current zoning regime. Mr. Cordy is looking to make a micro self-storage facility on the property, which is a total of 24 10 by 20 foot units, totaling 4,800 square feet that would run the length of those two lots. The Franklin County future use map shows that this zone should be or is intended to be commercial, which would align with our request. It's not the only commercial use, as pointed out in the area. Across the street is a fire station and a post office. Also within a quarter mile of the lot is a trucking company to the south on Lot M, Highway M, across the railroad tracks, and there's a car wash north on Highway M. Doug Cordy's had this lot for 20 plus years, and he's just looking to try and find some sort of economic way to develop this lot. I'll open it up to questions.
Any questions? No? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone present wishing to speak in favor of this file?
What's it gonna be?
Georgia.
Like the ones up the road and like
no,
the ones
Hey,
down
hey,
the road?
hey, no, up first. It's going to be, he indicated it's going to be storage units, micro storage units. So anybody here in wishing to speak in opposition to this file? Do we need to check the other room too?
I think allow for the 30-second.
Okay. If not, commissioners, discussion?
This looks a lot like spot zoning to me, according to the map.
Hmm.
Which I'm not in favor of.
Microphone, please.
Out public sewer there, he can't build on it, a residential property there.
I don't know about that. If you're creating a new property, you would have to have central water and sewer to create a property of this size. An existing property, they could put a residential structure on it as long as they meet the building department's requirements for septic and well.
But you, on that size lot, you can't meet the requirements.
From a zoning perspective, he would be permitted to do a residence. And Chairman, can I just make one note?
Yes.
I was reviewing the rezoning, but I just want to make it clear to the applicant that on their conceptual plan, you cannot build buildings across property lines, so they'll have to either combine those lots to remove that lot line between, or build two separate buildings that do not cross the property line. I just want to make a note of that for the applicant's plans.
Okay, thank you.
Nicole, is the alley that is on either, then in between those two lots, is that a recorded alley?
Yes.
So they would have to get a vacation from the commission.
If I may,
Yes.
we do have. As another comment, we have collected the signatures of every property owner that runs the length of that alley agreeing to vacate it. We're also aware of the issues of there being two parcels. We just looked at this being the first step in a mini set of steps that have to be taken to be able to develop this parcel.
Thank you.
That's reasonable.
Any additional discussion? We'll take a motion.
I move this to unfinished business.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, move that unfinished business. Okay. Let me get here. Now we're at let's go. We'll move the file 250264.
Okay, so as the Planning and Zoning Commission is aware, we're proposing amendments to the regulations to include requirements for data centers, including where they will be allowed and what type of regulations will be imposed on them. So I'm just gonna do a brief overview of what we're proposing. I'm not going to read through all of the regulations word for word. So just going to kind of skim through it. If you have any questions, let me know. So there is a definition that I am proposing for a data center. I am also proposing a definition for an accessory data center, which essentially is just if there is a data center that's being put on a site with a different principal use and its primary function is to serve that principal use, and it does not exceed 25% of the gross floor area of the primary use, then that would be considered an accessory data center. So that these regulations would not apply to those. These would apply to data centers. So adding to Article 7, we are proposing, so those definitions would be added to Article 2. Adding to Article 7 would be making data centers a permitted use in the G and the A zoning districts, with the requirement that it would be per Article 10. And then in Article 10, we are proposing the set of regulations that would govern data centers. Under some of the general requirements, you'll see that they would be permitted in the G and the A zoning districts. We've gone on to setback requirements. I'm proposing a 400-foot setback from all property lines for all of the buildings, associated equipment, appurtenances, and accessory structures, other than the security structures, which I'll cover later. And then the setbacks from any property line that is adjacent to our mostly residential districts, O, P, T, or Y, I'm proposing a 1,000-foot setback. And then moving on to the size, we are proposing that the development sites not exceed a maximum of 800 acres, and that any construction on the site cannot exceed a height of 100 feet, and that includes antennas or anything attached to any of the structures. For screening and lighting, screening buffers, those are covered by our regulations, and I am specifying that we would handle them in the same manner as recycling centers and trash transfer facilities. So it would be under the use chart in Article 13 that requires buffers. They would have to follow those same requirements. I've put in here that they would have to have downcast and shielded fixtures, and that the mounting height of all site lighting cannot be above 20 feet above finished grade. The open space requirements, I'm asking for any data center complex to provide at least 10% open space of the overall site area. Let's see, security and fencing. So we're going to require a security fence around the perimeter of the site, and it has to be ornamental wrought iron or similar material. The fencing has to be at least 6 feet in height, but no higher than 12 feet, and barbed or razor type wire fencing is prohibited. And then it moves on to the security guard structures. As I mentioned, those do not have to comply with the setback requirements. That way they can have, a security guard station that is near the road that's not behind the buffers. Now, as far as parking is concerned, I put in there, so the way that we handle parking for zoning uses in the county is whatever building is being constructed, we use square footage typically to determine what the parking requirements are going to be, and we look at whatever the use of the building is. So if a data center facility has a building that's primarily office space, I would be applying office space requirements for parking, but the principal buildings in a data center, those parking requirements would be similar to those for a warehouse distribution center. And then, let's see, noise requirements. I'm proposing a maximum of 60 decibels during the hours of 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and 50 decibels from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. as measured from the external property lines of the site. Now, that sound level does not apply to demolition work on buildings, structures, or appurtenances and or the testing of generators consistent with the requirement of any local, state, or federal agency, any situation arising from sudden and reasonably unforeseen events beyond the control of the facility operator that require the response of emergency vehicles or temporary use of emergency generators, and then standard generator testing conducted between 10 and 4 p.m. I am asking that a sound modeling study has to be submitted prior to approval of a data center permit. The study has to show noise conditions at the site prior to project development. And then it says at set locations determined by the planning director. So essentially just making sure that it actually covers all the major points. And then we also have to have model predicted noise conditions resulting from the project post-development. And then if any sound modeling study that's submitted has to include recommendations for sound mitigation measures. If they are building related, they have to be included in the building plans. And then within 90 days of each phase being put into full operation, and then every 3 years after, a post-development environmental sound study will be required. I did reach out to a sound engineer in our area and got some of their recommendations for the type of sound testing that would be most beneficial, I guess, to protect the neighboring properties. And they recommended that we use continuous equivalent sound pressure level measurements in 1 hour increments for a period of 5 days to accurately demonstrate the decibel levels that are coming off the site. If the study shows that the use exceeds those decibel levels, then they have to submit a noise mitigation and correction plan. They have to have specific measures and a timeline to achieve compliance, and it has to be subject to county approval. Following completion of the plan, an additional post-development sound study will be required to demonstrate compliance. So utilities and infrastructure, I'm asking that at least 2 accesses be provided from state or county maintained roads. I'm asking that they be served by public water and public sewer systems. And if there is not a public water and sewer system available, they can develop water systems, sewer systems, and treatment plants as long as they meet the minimum standards for any of the agencies involved in their approval. And just so you're aware, I have also reached out to the water district to get some of their comments, and they've given me some preliminary feedback, but it needs a little more fine tuning before I can really, this was kind of last minute.
Settle down, please.
Thank you. So I've also included that the applicant provide written verification from the applicable electric utility that the utility supply equipment and related electrical infrastructure are sufficiently sized and can safely accommodate the proposed use, and that the use will not cause electrical interference or abnormal inline voltage on and off the operating premises. I've also included that fuel deliveries to the facility can only occur between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Any expansion of the facility cannot result in the facility exceeding the maximum size requirements, and then any expansion plans will have to go through the same permitting requirements as the initial development, but we would only be looking at the expansion areas. And then I've added that we would require a data center permit, and then I've included all the information that the applicant would have to submit to get a data center permit, and most of the items in there are just to make sure that they meet all of the conditions or all of the requirements that I just listed. And I can go through those if you're interested. But otherwise, there's a list included of what they would have to provide. And that's about it.
That's
If you
what
have any questions, let me know.
Yeah. Any questions for Nicole?
Yes, what are the restrictions?
No. This is for commissioners only. You'll have time for public comment when I ask for it. Okay. Yes.
I've got something.
Sure.
Nicole, we had seen an engineering letter that talked about a lower decibel level and a closed loop cooling system. Have we?
So I had proposed when I was discussing the proposed amendments with the attorney, and I suggested that we include a requirement for a closed loop system. I was told that that's not something that we can feasibly do, and I don't really know why that's the case, but I think it had something to do with the technology and it changing. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but that's why it's not in there.
Okay. And I'm also wondering about the security fencing. It seems odd to require something like ornamental wrought iron.
So the reason that was included was to improve the appearance of the site, and I was reviewing other regulations from other neighboring areas and other places across the U.S., and that seemed to be a fairly typical requirement. When this type of money is being invested in a project, that doesn't seem like a steep requirement to me, but so it was included kind of in following with what I've seen elsewhere and what seems to be pretty typical for data centers. They have to have some type of security fencing.
Sure.
And wrought iron is what
it
seems
just seemed to me that it would be more applicable to put something like a fence rating rather than a specific type. It's something to think about.
And by fence rating, do you mean like
if you want
sturdiness
a
of the
certain
metal?
strength,
okay,
or soundproofing, or whatever you're looking for, security.
I would think most of the data centers will be using what they call a non-climbable fence. I've noticed in other operations around, that's what they've used for security reasons. So, I have to agree with Debbie. I would like to see closed loop design as part of one of the parameters for it. So. Please keep it down so everybody can hear. We'll get by this a little faster. So if we could add that, I think, unless, how do the rest of the commissioners feel on that?
Could we do closed loop design or better? If there's a newer technology that comes out that improves that? It's already out.
Yeah, I would say we keep it as closed loop. I mean, and when I used to do the geothermal, I would never do an open loop design. It's better conservationally to do that. And even though there's a little more cost up front, if they design it correctly, the energy savings over time will pay for itself. So I would say that it's not something out of, and it will do water conservation, which is a concern for a lot of people. So.
I was also had thought about the location of the cooling radiators or whatever you want to call them. And if those, I'm guessing engineering would put those in between multiple buildings or whatever to direct that sound more up than away from, put it on the outside towards the neighbors. If you had it towards your own buildings, it would help to control that sound.
They're going to have to, 50 to 60 dB is going to be very difficult to attain anyway. So I think that's going to, having that parameter is going to be able to control the sound level ratings.
Okay.
Okay, so far what I'm seeing is under utilities and infrastructure, I think it would probably be the most appropriate place for a closed loop design system. That was where I was intending to place it. Okay. So that's where I would when I'm talking about the public water and public sewer systems, that's where I would probably address that.
The only other...
Sorry. and then, I'm sorry. So the other item was the rating strength of security fencing. I would need to know if the commission is hoping to place some type of rating strength on it. This can also be included in the motion when it's made and further discussion can be held about it. But these are my notes so far. And if you have any recommendations, I can put those in there.
Okay.
Wasn't there also some discussion between the Public Service Commission and Ameren on the rates that could be charged for electricity?
Well, I was going to add that as an item on projects over 75 megawatts. Public Service Commission of Missouri requires a contract. So I would say we would probably want to get a contract verification on what they call those mega data centers, which has covenants in there about not charging the ratepayer for the increases in the application of the data center.
So Chairman, would that mean that the contract verification would be that it's under 75 megawatts? Okay.
Yeah.
And so I would propose that if we add that, depending on when the motion is made, that I would add that to the written verification from the electric companies.
Absolutely. Any additional comments or questions for Nicole?
One thing I did not mention, because it's not included in the regulations, but it would be established by the county commission, is the fee. So I am hoping to see some type of application fee, and I believe that it should be, hold on, I have okay, so we require that a temporary batch plant, which is for concrete manufacturing for specific projects, we charge $1,000 for that. And I think that any application fees for a data center should be at least that, if not more. And so I was thinking that I would be asking the commission to establish at least $1,500. If the Planning and Zoning Commission would like to weigh in on that, that would be great. And then also considering a fee for the review of the sound mitigation studies that they have to do every 3 years.
Okay.
I would like to say that, there we go. If we are going to set a fee for application, it would entail tremendously more work than a temporary batch plant or temporary asphalt plant, things such as that. So if we would go $10,000 for an application fee, this is a 400-acre plus development.
Please note that we are talking about data center regulations, not specific to a site.
But any data center is going to be 400 acres or greater, no matter where it is in the county. But if we do that, I mean, they're not 10-acre parcels with a data center on it. So I think a $10,000 application fee shows sincerity on the applicant, and it also allows us to have funds to investigate the applications.
I appreciate
it. It will be time consuming.
Okay, thank you.
You guys put this one up on the screen?
Any additional comments on Jim's?
Why?
Show the parcel.
There is
Yeah.
Why all the secrets?
So, any other additional comments or questions?
Parcel on the screen.
We're not there yet.
Oh, okay. Been talking about it for 30 minutes, but you're not there yet.
We're just talking about adding a regulation that would regulate data centers, not any particular one just yet, but we'll look at the acreage in another file.
Proposed area while you're talking about it.
Why was it so secret?
No.
Why wasn't we only given 5 days?
Please keep the comments done so we can move forward, please. Thank you. So is there any additional questions for Nicole or comments? Okay. If not, I will take a motion.
We have to have a public.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forget the thing. Anybody here in favor of speaking for this file?
Yes, sir. My name is Leon Backus. My address is 10210 North Central Expressway, Dallas, Texas, and I'm here in favor of the file.
Okay. Please keep it down. Let everybody have their chance to talk, and so everyone can listen, please.
Swear in, sir. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, stuff you got?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Spell your last name.
It's Backes. So we are a Texas-based real estate development company. We are doing data center projects in Texas, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and Alabama. And while I live in Dallas, Texas, I'm actually a proud Missourian. My ancestors moved to central Missouri in Osage County in the 1830s. I was born and raised in a little town called Osage City that is next to the Osage River. I attended Jefferson City Public High School. I went to school at Mizzou. I'm a proud Mizzou Tiger, and I recently was honored to give the commencement address at the Missouri School of Business fall commencement this December, a few weeks ago. So we really, at this point, don't have any objections to the proposed ordinance, but I'm here if you need to answer any or ask me any questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone else willing to speak in favor of this file? We have somebody.
Do I swear unto you?
Yeah. State your name and address, please. And
my name is Dan Koppel. I live here in Union, Missouri. I'll write it down.
Speed of 30.
I do. Kloeppel. All right, hello everyone. My name is Dan Kloeppel. I am chairman of the Franklin County Labor Committee. I am a lifelong resident of Franklin County. I have worked on building and the maintenance of a data center before. I helped build it. I was the foreman in charge of the electric. I was the foreman in charge of the maintenance after it was built. Data centers are clean. You can eat off the floor in a data center. We're not talking, it's not like we're building a refinery, a meat processing plant, or a toxic dump. It's a building that has computer information in it with a bunch of servers. That's really all it is. Like I said, it's not a big warehouse. Well, it maybe is a big warehouse, but there is nothing toxic or bad in them. In Missouri, the people don't get charged extra for the electric that is used in a data center like they do in some other states. If they're worried about the electric power that's there, I would like to see them personally put solar panels on both the top of the building and Well,
Please keep it down and let this gentleman talk,
we
please.
can't talk about what may happen in the future. We're talking about right now. So I do agree that it should be a closed system.
I'm sorry. Can you wait a second, sir? I'm sorry. I can't.
Yep.
I do agree that it should be a closed system with the water, which will greatly reduce any water. An open system would not be good. The amount of water used in a closed system is nowhere near what an open system is. So that is something as well. This will bring hundreds of construction jobs to the area. That is a fact. And that is,
please let the gentleman speak.
As far as the labor committee, that is what we are concerned about, bringing good paying jobs to Franklin County. And not only that, the amount of people.
People, please let the gentleman talk.
At what cost? As I said, I don't see. It's not a toxic dump. It's not a toxic building. I worked in these. They're clean.
You need to wrap it up, please. Though.
Okay, you get other residual jobs because of something like this. There is other residual jobs we will get because of it. And plus, right now, I'm pretty sure all that property is zoned agriculture, which is a very low tax base. You change it there, the tax rate, that's going to go way up, which is going to mean millions more dollars for our county, for our schools, our infrastructure, and everything else.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
So,
Chairman.
as of right now,
thank you.
Chairman.
County labor is for this.
I'm sorry. Chairman, I believe he should be given a little more time to speak, considering how many times he's been interrupted, and I haven't been able to hear what he has to say. I'm sorry, but everyone really needs to be respectful and be quiet when someone else is talking. It's just part of the process.
You may not agree with everyone's being said and maybe agree with you, but give the people an opportunity to state their opinion and respect their opinion. It would be greatly appreciated.
And I know a lot of people, would you want in our backyard? All right, I live in town, but my family farm where I was raised on, we have a county road station right next to us with the gravel and everything else, which that's part of, it's what it is. It's not a real nuisance, but there's nuisances next to every property at times. There's things you can't do about it. So I think they would be a good neighbor for the people here, and I think it would be very good for our county to have this.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's update the slide now.
Is there anyone else willing to speak in favor of this file?
Oh, here we go.
State and spell your name, please.
My name's De'Aaron Sprayberry. I live at 2660 South Mangan Road in Pacific.
You someone swear the testimony about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that big guy?
Yes.
Can you spell your last name for me?
Sprayberry. Sprayberry. Okay. All right. So I don't live in Franklin County, but I did grow up about 1.5 miles from the proposed site. That was my childhood home, and I still own the property.
Can you speak a little closer to the mic so everybody can hear you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I don't live in Franklin County, but I still own a piece of property in Franklin County about 1.5 miles from the site. I'm a business agent for Local 513 Operating Engineers, and I'm in support of this project because of the amount of jobs, the construction job that it's going to bring. This project is going to bring construction jobs to the area that more man hours that might exceed Lavity Power Plant back in the late 1960s. And the amount of revenue that this is going to bring to the county is probably something this county's never seen. So that's why I'm in support of it. That's what I got to say.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking in favor of this file? Okay. Anyone here willing to speak against, in opposition of this file?
Yes, you've got 4,000 signatures.
Go ahead, right here. State your name and address, please.
My name is Amanda Brown, and I live on Robertsville Road, 2913. I've been there my entire life. I am 7th generation in Franklin County.
About to swear you in, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right. So like I said, I'm the 7th generation of my family in this county. I've lived in my home my entire life. I built it with my family, and now I'm raising my family in it. I'm only about a mile away from this proposed site. And when I figured out there wasn't a petition already made for this, just so the people can have a voice, I think we just need a right to vote on this as a people, because we're the ones that are going to have to live next to it. So I just wanted to submit this. I did submit it via email because y'all weren't open yesterday on Martin Luther King Day. And now it is up to 4,000 signatures. I only had 4 days to submit this. And in the 4 days when I submitted this on 1/20/2026 at 3 p.m., it had 3,759 signatures. We now have 4,039 signatures opposing this. I would just like to share this with you guys, and personally, I just don't want this near my home and to ruin the home that I grew up in.
Microphone, please.
So,
Do you want to take that for matter of the public record?
yes, so what needs to happen is we need to stop talking for a second for the court reporter to be able to mark it as an exhibit, and then it will be entered into the record.
So
Need to add a couple more signatures.
Yeah.
Becca wants to sign it.
Can we put it up on the screen now?
I still have it ongoing. Still ongoing online.
It's not gonna sign. Can you put it up on the screen now? We have people concerned to know ahead of time. We will reach the 5,000.
All right. Is there anything else, ma'am?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else willing to speak against this plan? Yes.
Somebody want to swear me in or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, what he said.
And before you speak, can you write your name on the sign-in sheet and then announce it?
All right, good evening. My name is Garrett Brown. I have seeked interest in this data center because I've been watching data go up within the past 5 decades. It started in the early 80s with 1G when we had just cell phone talking and we could call people. Then we moved up, so on and so forth, to where we're at now. However, I've also noticed back in 2019 that everybody was scared of 5G, and there's a good reason. And I do believe that all the 5G towers, like the ones that are in Washington, are causing people to mentally mess up, therefore driving into buildings. And I do believe that these data centers are going to cause more radio frequencies that are going to affect our mental capabilities, thus messing everything up. And we do not need these radio frequency waves put into our community. It's going to cause devastation amongst our community. And you can preach all the jobs that you want. The jobs ain't going to amount to anything that this data center is going to affect on our community. And we're going to need all the jobs that we can get. We don't need it at the data centers. There's McBride homes being built everywhere. And for God's sakes, I'd love more residential homes than a data center to be built. And construction can be put into the McBride homes. We don't need this data center. You guys are preaching money, but this is a hidden agenda that's been ate up and hidden beneath our feet for far too long. And now it's January 20th, 2026, 20 days after the turn of 2026, and we get bombarded with this. It's a load of crap, and I don't care how much money there's put into it, because money's temporary. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would also like to go in and mention that you're talking about closed-loop water systems, and I did look into those closed-loop water systems. They could be closed-loop, yes, but they still filter out and regulate and regenerate water through the community, which will cause our water prices to go up and destroy our environment, also including the impact it's going to have on our solar grid. And then need to go back to the radioactive frequencies that are being put through the air. If you guys think that's not going to have anything to do with the effect on our mental health, physical health, and electronical development and community, you guys are delusional, and you really need to seriously think about this, because these are being popped up and nobody knows anything about it. There's only less than a decade of or less than a decade of research that's been being put into these centers, and I really think that people need to go back and rethink these data centers before they're put in. We're being manipulated and controlled by AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint. And if you guys are going to sell out to those big companies, money is the root of all evil. And if you guys want to see what the root of all evil looks like, install this data center.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
How much more time do I have?
You have 15 seconds.
I don't want this data center in my backyard. Nobody wants it here. You got 2 people that are in favor for it and 4,000 that are against it. Seriously, do the math.
Anyone else speaking in opposition to this file? Take someone in the back there. Come forward.
What's the procedure? Sign this?
That's sign in, state your name and address, and you'll get sworn in.
Print your name. We need it to be legible.
Is there a real reason that we haven't updated this slide to show that?
We're not at that file at this time. When we get to that file, the file we're talking about is the regulations at this time. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, my name is Rodney Knapp. I live out here in Pacific, and you have to do a lot more research on this. I've been.
You read your ID?
Pardon?
Read your ID?
Oh, yeah.
You solemnly swear that testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, nothing else?
Definitely, I do.
Explain that.
Knapp, K-N-A-P-P. Okay, I did research, and this information is not just from somebody coming up here and talking. I did some research. Environmental and Energy Study Institute, that's where this comes from, which you probably should look up on the internet and get more information on this. You need, first off, there's a lot of pollution going into this. My research says they have to redo these data centers about every 3 years. The circuits just to make these things, the CPUs and stuff to make these things have to be remade. The pollution and the energy it takes, the carbon imprint. If we get it from the coal plant down here to put power up here, it's going to stress the grid. During the hot weather, it's 106 degrees here. You can't cool these things off. I don't care what you do. You do some research on this. It's going to take more power in the water. Here, let me read this. This says, large data centers can consume up to 5 million gallons per day, equivalent to the use of a town population of 10 to 50,000 people. It says, The larger and all new AI-focused data centers with consumption can increase alongside energy usage and carbon emissions. So carbon emissions goes up. The more it uses power, the power has to come from somewhere. Data centers have the thirst for water. Their rapid expansion threatens fresh water supplies. Only 3% of Earth's water is fresh water, and only 5% of the water. On an average, a human being can live without water for only 3 days. Meanwhile, the data center developers are increasing tapping into the surface and underground aquifers to cool their facilities. If you let them build that water tower here, where do you think the water's going to go? It's going to go right back down. You're going to end up drinking it. It's going to go to your family and your grandkids. You can't do this. The data center water usage closely parallels energy usage with carbon emissions. So you have to produce water somehow. You got to pump it or something. It takes electric to do this. So it increases that. Their data center operates to meet all AI requests, consume large amounts of water to cool their processors, chips, and avoid overheating and potential damage. Similarly, the energy increases in data centers, so do the carbon emissions. Here's the next one. In a medium-sized data center can consume roughly 110 million gallons of water. That's a lot of water. That's your wells. That's your city water. It's on the digital face per year according to cooling purposes. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get through in a fast amount of time. Equivalent to the annual water supply of approximately 1,000 households. Larger data centers can each drink up to 5 gallons per day or $1.8 billion annually. The other thing is to make these chips, it uses energy and they have to be replaced. Again, you have to do research. These computers got to be replaced about every 3 years. So when they say they're going to check on it in 3 years, or whoever said they're going to reevaluate this, and the other guy was right too. There is microwaves coming out of these things. Put your head in a microwave, see what happens. I'm done. But really do some research, please. We don't want the noise. We don't need this. This is not good for us. They don't want to do it in St. Charles, and they won't do it in the city. You know why? Because this is bad. You don't need this. You can live without it. You'll be way better ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, please submit the file.
What do you want me to do?
You got to submit the file so she submitted the signature.
Sure.
Was your intent to provide that?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so we can
I'd
keep
love
it.
to have you that. There's more files, but I can't get through this in the few minutes you give me. I would love to take my time and read it clearly, but please save our community.
Anyone else speaking in opposition? Gentlemen, come.
Commissioners, hi. My name is Mark Bax. I am a resident of Deloge Estates, a subdivision that borders the southern part of the parcel we'll talk about later. But also I reflect that this is about the regulation. Yeah.
Write your name, and then he'll swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Have you spelled your last name?
B-A-X-A, first name Mark, M-A-R-K. So, Commissioners, I've heard comments from the county planner this morning, the director, or this evening, that there's evidence that this was a hurried exercise, and that is a element of caution for all of you that, in fact, it's reflecting that. And I'll point out some key points here. First thing is that I understand there's a setback of 400 feet from the border for businesses, and that may be appropriate, but 1,000 feet for residences in this county is inappropriate. And I would suggest a minimum setback for residences of at least 2,500 feet if you should go forward. The second thing is for the height of the facility to be 100 feet is an equivalent of 10 stories, inclusive of the systems on the rooftop. I would suggest you restrict that to no more than 50 feet. I will also add that a couple of very important points that you're all accountable for as our public servants were not mentioned in the review before we considered this before you this evening, and that is in section 236 for data centers, point A, subpoint number 1 and 2, which refers to the obligations you have to protect the interest of not only nearby communities, but also for the welfare and the well-being of the citizens of this county. And that should have been the first thing that was brought forward as you consider this. There's ample evidence that high decibel frequencies can affect the hearing of the welfare of your communities, and that's your people. Suggesting that 60 decibels during the day and 50 at night, while other institutions may have done this, is something you should strongly reconsider. I would suggest something along the lines of 40 during the day and 30, which is quiet, at night. 60 and 50 is not acceptable. Something that's also very interesting is testing those decibels. I understand the 5-day strategy about thorough evaluation on an hour basis. That's great for actual establishment, but no reviews for 3 years. What are we supposed to do? Call the local sheriff and say, that's a little loud, go knock on the door and tell them to quiet it down? I don't think that's going to happen. When data centers surge, they could very easily go to almost 100 decibels, depending on how we call on those data centers, and specifically for artificial intelligence-based data centers. You have no protection over that. You have to protect us now. The other point I would bring up is that testing frequency should be no less than 3 months, right? And no more than 3 months, not 3 years. That testing cannot go on for 3 years. Something that's very paramount, I think, is the establishment, whether it's a closed-loop cooling system or other parameters, is water will be used by these facilities. It's not potential to, you can't run these facilities without cooling. I would suggest that in Section 9, Subpart B, that you exclude entirely the use of groundwater of this county for this purpose. I would like to bring up why I justify that statement, and that is in consideration for what we will discuss in the next section this evening, providing you bring it forward. That will be rural water systems. It will affect the communities around, and once it's affected,
You need to wrap it up, okay?
nothing else we can do. I'm almost finished.
You can have my time. You can have my time. You can have my time.
I want to finalize the comments that I share this on behalf of a total of 46 residents of the entire subdivision of Deloge Estates, which I repeat, borders the entire southern portion of the parcel we'll talk about later this evening. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Chairman. I just want the record to reflect that John Jasper is now here attending the meeting in case there's any question as to when he began his attendance. And then there were a couple of things I just wanted to mention about that last testimony, just to be sure that everyone is clear about what was written. And we can definitely make it 400 feet from a residence, but that was actually 400 feet from any property line. And then the 1,000 feet would be from any property line that is bordered by a property that is located in one of the highly residential districts. So just to be clear, it's not 400 feet from a residence, it's 400 feet from the property line. And then I did just want to point out to the Planning and Zoning Commission that in Section A, the very first thing we say is that the purpose of the section is to regulate the placement and construction of data centers in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Franklin County. So it was the first thing that we mentioned in here, just for the record. I just want to make sure that's clear for everyone.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Someone speaking in opposition to the file? We take the young lady back there.
What information do you need from
We
me?
need name and address, spell it please for the court reporter, and then you get sworn in.
My name is Mariah Chambers. I live in Washington.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, or will you the nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I am a biochemist, and I've done not research on this, but research in a lot of things. And in 1910, they said lead arsenic was safe to put on food. In the 50s, they said cigarettes were safe and they were healthy. And Johnson & Johnson lied for years and years and was not caught for having asbestos in their talcum powder. The FDA does not actually regulate generics to any degree near the pharmaceuticals. In fact, overseas, they don't even check what's going on with them. So what I'm saying is, who said this was safe? There is no research. As the man talking about the waves said, there's no long-term data on this whatsoever. So we can't get that unless we're the test subjects. Are we rats? So let's say no. This will have untold environmental impact to the animals, to the people, to the migratory birds. Like, everything is going to be impacted by this. So respectfully, please say no.
In speaking in opposition, gentlemen, come forward, please.
My name is Josh Gerrels. I'm a resident of Franklin County and Robertsville, Missouri. So Gerrels. I have a full copy of what I would like to say, but I don't think I have time to say it. So I'd like to enter this into the record.
And just hang on 1 second.
Yes, well, I'll give you time to fill this out.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
No.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. All right, Honorable County Commissioners and members of the Zoning Committee, my name is Joshua Gerrels. I'm a resident of Franklin County, Missouri. I own a few acres of land just beyond where the supposed data site's going to be. I drive past that place every day on my way to work. I'm an electrical engineer with almost 20 years of experience in industrial construction, power generation, defense technology, and advanced radar systems and electromagnetic shielding in the U.S. Department of Defense. I have a deep understanding of high-power electrical infrastructure, energy consumption patterns, and a subtle but cumulative effect on electromagnetic fields. Data centers are voracious consumers of water. A medium-sized facility can use up to 300,000 gallons of water per day to cool servers. Larger facilities can consume up to 5 million. I think a lot of this has been already talked about. But that's water usage roughly to 50,000 homes. The water is often drawn from local aquifers and municipal supplies, leading to the eventual depletion of the natural resources. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, Missouri has experienced drought levels of D1 or higher for the last 20 out of 23 years. In water-stressed areas like ours, the water usage of a data center could cause irreversible aquifer exhaustion, forcing communities to ration water or face skyrocketing utility costs as infrastructure is upgraded. We cannot afford to gamble with a water supply in a rural area already vulnerable to drought. While it's true that many modern data centers employ closed-loop cooling systems to recirculate water or coolant, thereby reducing direct freshwater withdrawals compared to traditional open-loop evaporative methods, this technology falls far short of resolving the broader environmental and community concerns associated with the data center water use. Proponents often highlight how closed-loop designs such as direct-to-ship or immersion cooling could cut water consumption by 70%, reusing the same water multiple times. But closer examination persists inefficiencies, hidden costs, and risks that undermine those claims. Closed-loop systems are not truly zero water. Even in a recirculating setup, water is lost through evaporation, especially in hybrid systems that incorporate air cooling, leaks, maintenance purges, or intentional blowdowns to manage contaminated buildup. These systems require periodic makeup water to replace natural losses, which can cause cause the amounts of thousands of gallons daily in large facilities, straining local aquifers. Moreover, the initial fill of a closed-loop system can demand a significant volume of water. Over time, evaporative or operational needs could lead to ongoing consumption, often equivalent to daily water needs of hundreds of households. Second, the recirculation process induces serious chemicals and water quality challenges. To prevent corrosion, scaling, fouling, and microbial growth in these loops, operators add chemicals like microbes and inhibitors and pH adjusters. Because water doesn't evaporate contaminants, it is as is in open systems, these substances concentrate over time, turning the loop into a chemical time bomb. That requires careful monitoring and periodic discharge. The blowdown wastewater, which is laden with salts, metals, and potentially toxic additives, must be treated and released, riskily contaminating local waterways or groundwaters if not
Gonna need to
perfectly.
wrap it up soon.
Okay. Let's see. Let me get to the point where I really am. So my professional experience, I'd like to highlight the risks of increased electromagnetic radiation. Data centers generate low-frequency electromagnetic field from servers, transformers, and high-voltage power lines. I work in the defense industry, and my goal is to shield those at low voltage levels, 24 volts, 270 volts at most, and we're talking about megawatts of power here with thousands of volts of electricity. There's typical safety thresholds of around 0.3 or 0.4 microtesla as magnetic flux density that has been linked to health issues. That's a barely measurable amount, but still leads to irreversible health issues, including documented cases of childhood leukemia, disruptions of melatonin production, including seizures, oxidative stresses, and contributing to other cardiovascular and neurological evidence. In densely powered facilities like data centers, EMFs can exceed 1.5 to 4 volts per meter. That's how far the field can go based on those voltage lines.
Okay, yeah.
So you have the rest of my testimony in written
Yes,
format
sir.
with sources cited.
Okay. Thank you.
If you're still for the data center after hearing that man's facts, you have no soul. Oh yeah, because they don't care about health, they don't care about
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Susan McKee. I live in Beaufort, Missouri. I do. The state of Virginia has more data centers than any other state. The state also has many citizen complaints from those living close to the data centers. As a result, some Virginia counties hire scientists to conduct research projects studying data centers. A 2024 study done for William County, Virginia, found that noise from data centers can travel up to 3 miles. The data center that is proposed at the Old Diamond Farms in Gray Summit will be the following driving distances: across the street from the Shaw Nature Reserve, 1.5 miles from the Gray Summit Christian Preschool, 1.8 miles from Coleman Elementary, and 2.5 miles from Purina Farms. Data centers can be quite loud outside, with noise levels ranging from 65 to over 100 decibels. That is bad enough. However, the low-frequency hum, rather than high-pitched sounds, is often what bothers residents, causing headaches and sleep disruption. And I imagine, I don't have research on this part of it, I imagine that if humans are bothered by the noise, animals would be even more sensitive and harmed by the noise. The research and the experiences of people who live near data centers are important reasons why Franklin County should refuse to allow construction of data centers in our county. Thank you.
My name is Sierra Enlow, and I live very close to Coleman, right in Villa Ridge, so it's pretty much on our back door. As some of the people that were, yes, Enlow, E-N-L-O-E, first name Sierra, S-I-E-R-R-A. All right. So, as the FOR Council was saying, it was going to offer jobs. It's really not. Data centers, depending on size, at most employ 50 permanent jobs, and it's not even guaranteed that those people are going to be from the local area. Looking at contracting, that's only offering temporary jobs. And again, it's not proposed to be for the local area. It's for whoever gets their bid in the best. And some of those bids can come from where Texas or Virginia or Indiana, anywhere. It's not strictly just for Franklin County. Between the water, the noise, the air pollution, because our grids aren't going to hold it. Villa Ridge right now, we have constant fluxes of surges and power outages, and adding the data center plus the 188 McBride homes that are currently being built and added to the system itself, it's going to very well overload it. It's going to overload it. And we're going to end up paying for those by consistent outages that are going to be happening because they surge. And even the cost, because it's not guaranteed, they're not going to raise our electric for when they add substations or generation capacities and all these other electrical grid items. It's not guaranteed that they're not going to raise our electric bills at all, because they can write that, but they can always raise it up with a separate notice of something else. But knowing that there's just way too much wrong coming from the data centers itself that's even going to benefit Franklin County in general. We are mostly rural. We like our nature and our waters and stuff like that clear and clean between Merrimack and the Shaw Nature Reserve and Perina Farms. Adding something this big and monstrous and right in our rural communities even throughout Franklin County is probably not a good idea. We want to prep ourselves, including everybody else that's after us, our kids, our grandkids, our cousin's brother, whoever it is. We don't want them to have to deal with the hassles of having something like this approved in our community and having the fallbacks that it's going to have. Regulations are there, but they can always be modified. They can always be, changed to what other people want.
Wrap it up if you could.
Okay. But what other people want. But that's as long as the regulations are standstill by not approving this, then we won't have to worry about all these fallbacks from later issues that are going to be cost extensive for everybody in Franklin County.
Okay. Thank you.
Cameron Schulten, 1447 Highway AM, Villa Ridge.
Do you solemnly swear that testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes.
SCHOLTEN. I'm a mechanical engineer. I have some background in industrial ventilation, not specifically with cooling and refrigeration, just more general air movement. And would like to bring some impending regulation from the Department of Energy that the Commission may not be aware of. Fan and ventilation nationwide makes up a very large component of the national electrical demand. For this reason, the Department of Energy began drafting DOE 10 CFR Part 431. That was expected to go into effect in 2025. That was postponed due to the current federal administration, but the industry at large is in agreement that maybe not this exact regulations, but something very similar is inevitable. Many states and many manufacturers are preemptively voluntarily switching over. The main thing that this regulation establishes is the FEI rating, which is Fan Efficiency Index, and they say it must be greater than 1 for all fan installations and fan arrays. This has also been brought in preemptively into the ASH RAE 2022 version, I believe, of the Heating and Cooling Engineers prescriptive code. And like most counties, Franklin County will eventually adopt this by reference, like we would do with most of our building codes. I urge us to preemptively look into the DOE regulation and make sure we're not stuck with obsolete, decrepit equipment going forward. Another bonus of these higher efficiency fan specifications, more efficient fans are also quieter. I also heard the restriction of 60 dB during the day. I've seen that analog to normal human speech, and that's spoken as if it's a good thing. Personally, if I was having a barbecue in my backyard and there was a constant drone at the volume that I am speaking now, that wouldn't make me happy. I don't think that restriction is set low enough. I do agree that closed loop cooling should be mandated, and I think if need be, we should seek out some sort of expert testimony on the feasibilities of that, and we should urge that even if it is a little more expensive for the benefit of all the residents in Franklin County. I also think that data center locations should be, broadly speaking, not placed near commonly public open spaces, i.e. nature reserves, parks. I don't think that's conducive to the environment. There's plenty of industrial parks in the county already where something like this would not be nearly as obstructive. I think that's all. I think that's everything.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Chairman, would you mind if we took a quick break just to get some more people in here as some of these seats are clearing? I hate for everyone to be waiting in the hallway when there are chairs available.
Okay. Well, yep.
Hey, but there was 2 people that were in favor.
It is hard to navigate. Yeah, I think
I'm at blood thinners. I'm freezing right now.
I had to wait. That was kind of looked at real quick. Somebody worked with this over here. That's what part about getting old. I go to work. Well, that's not too bad
Sorry about that. You're fine. Chairman? I think, yeah.
Okay, we have any attention, we're going to start again. Will you please state your name and address and sign in, please?
Yes, my name's Natalie Stahl-Lafata. I live at 3003 Highway N in Catawissa, Missouri. Yes, I do. Yep. Stahl-Lafata. All right. My question is for everyone looking at me right now. Are you going to require any regulations that require the data center to mitigate or replace water supplies if they impair existing residential wells? And how far of a distance will that regulation cover? And that's just something for you all to realize that this is going to affect everyone. For 27 years, I've been a state certified water and wastewater professional operator, drinking water in the state. So water is my life. My small business depends on clean water. I provide clean water. We have to have clean water. So in Missouri, we have 8 groundwater provinces or aquifers. Franklin County is in the Salem Plateau, and that provides water for the southern half, pretty much the southern half of the state, a majority of it. So not only is that including Public Water District number 3, which provides water out here in Franklin County, that's also City of Union, City of St. Clair, City of Pacific, and anyone else that uses groundwater as their source for wells, which is how all of these cities and our municipalities get our water from. We're all going to be affected. So what happens when a high water user begins pumping from the same aquifer as the residential and municipal well, it can significantly affect the water supply. The primary risk is a drop in the water table, and that can cause reduced water pressure, muddy water, or even the well going completely dry. Now I have all of the respect for the public water supply management, and I know that they are going to keep the public in their best interest with their decisions, but they're not in charge of my personal well in Catawissa. And I don't want to lose my well in Catawissa because it's expensive to get a new well. So things that we need to think about is the direct consumption is what's actually at the facility, at the data center. The indirect consumption is at the facility that creates the energy. That's the Labadie power plant, to my understanding. Unless they decide to be innovative at this new data center, if they want to be sustainable, they can utilize their own wastewater effluent, but most facilities still do not do that to this day. The statistics on some water stuff. Gallons per year in use for 75% of the data center facilities is anywhere from 500,000 to 243 million gallons a year. That's a lot of water. That's anywhere from 1,300 gallons to 660 gallons per day. For reference, the average household uses 300 gallons per day. Average water park is 300,000 gallons per day during their peak season, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool holds 660,000 gallons of water. So, another thing is the thermoelectric, the Labadie power plant.
You need to wrap it up here.
Okay. They account for 40% of total U.S. water consumption. So, whether the water's being used at the facility or it's being used at the Labadie power plant, it's going to be used one way or the other. It goes hand in hand, no matter what water is going to be used. I think closed loop is a great avenue to address. And remember that. Is there going to be any regulations against these people if my well goes dry or if the public drinking supply goes dry?
Anyone speaking in opposition? Go ahead, sir.
I just have petitions, that's it. Can I just submit these really quick? Sorry. I just have petitions that were signed in opposition to this that I'd just like to submit.
Go ahead and give it to the court reporter, please.
Just so that it's part of the record, though.
You need to sign in, yes.
And I'm at 888 St. Mary's Road. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
You want to swear in, Chairman?
Pardon?
You want to swear in?
Yeah, go ahead and swear her in. And that way it's a matter of the public record.
You told me swear the testimony about to give it the truth, the whole truth, and nothing you said against it?
Yes.
Did you say that?
Elizabeth Hammonds.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
My name is Nicholas German, Nicholas, German with a G. And I'm here. A lot of people are probably going to be bringing up before and after me. By the way, I'm at 883 Whisper Court, Labadie. And a lot of people before and after me are going to be talking about.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give it the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, against it?
Yes. So, long story short, a lot of people are going to be talking about the ecological effects, effects to people psychologically, the power consumption. To give you an idea of an average data center, it uses about 4 times as much power as the entire city of Washington. So if one of those comes in, it's going to immediately put a strain on the grid. And that's going to create a lot of more problems as far as facilitating that. And I also know that there is like a go green kind of approach that has been being taken in regards to like getting rid of coal power, things like that. I do see a domino effect in regards to the decommissioning of power plants that people have been wanting. That won't happen because the power will be needed. Now, what we're talking about here is multi-billion-dollar corporations, right? Silicon Valley, private equity firms, things like that. There's no accountability when it comes to a company that big. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that, you know, you can call in to a call center and you can sit on hold for 30 minutes, but the average guy isn't going to have much recourse in regards to this. So that's why I have to strongly infer that in regards to this, if you do decide to make the zoning for this open, you are opening Pandora's box. What will happen is once that zoning has been made for the first property to go in, you will see follow-up and all kinds of areas that are open and for sale are going to be scooped up left and right. Now, the problems that people are talking about right now are only in regards to the construction and running of one facility. Once you let in one, and if you have the zoning available for others to come in, they will. There's quite a lot of very scary stories out there about different cities, different counties that are all being just gutted from all their open space. Something else to consider is, in a microcosm, is that plot of land right there along the Merrimack that is behind the nature reserve, right? That plot of land, there won't be one tree left there. Once they take that property over, they're going to scrape it. They also are going to drill down, or they are going to be tapping into the Merrimack River. Those things are very, very water hungry, and there's a lot of EPA unregulated things that are going along with these. Something else to consider, I'm almost done, is in regards to a data center, when it comes in, if it does not have enough power to run all of its servers, okay, they have a backup system of diesel generators, all right? And some of these facilities can have as many as, I mean, they at the minimum have a few dozen. At the most, they might have 10 dozen. And these are large jet turbine diesel generators the size like of a semi-truck trailer. They're huge. On top of that, you've got exhaust fans on top of the buildings, and they're about the size of a small Volkswagen. And you're going to have dozens of those on the top of it, creating a constant hum. So you're going to end up with a barren
You need
plot
to
of
wrap
land.
it up here. Okay.
Okay. And it's going to affect the water supply. And once you let in one, though, you will be letting in more, and it will be out of control.
We're in fine. There should be food. I guess we could start.
Someone we swear that doesn't remember you. The whole tree doesn't know. Yeah, that'd be good.
I do.
Say your name,
No.
your address. It's probably good.
Good evening, committee members. My name is Sean Gordon. I reside at 310 Hooker Street in Washington. I've lived there for 27 years and will be a lifelong resident here because I choose to live here, because it is a beautiful town, it's a beautiful county, and I love this area. Many people have spoken about the environmental issues. I agree with all of those. They are very serious and need to be taken very seriously. I am very glad that the committee is going to insist on a closed loop system, but that is just the first step, as many others have said. I would also suggest that to mitigate the possible rise in electric rates, which we have seen in other data centers along the East Coast, it should be a requirement that They also supply not only their own power, but to be a benefit to the people of Franklin County, they should provide an excess of their power requirements by renewable energy. Solar farms either on this land or in other land in the area. Industrial scale grid tied solar panels can produce in excess of 400 megawatts per acre. So there should be no problem for them to produce the electricity they need either on the roofs of their buildings or within the land they need. If they can overproduce, then they can actually reduce the power required by everyone else and reduce the reliance on coal power. Now, the most important issue, though, I wanted to bring up is not been mentioned too much before, is the huge financial risk that the county would be taking on by allowing this sort of installation to go in. You've probably all heard of the AI bubble, and it is a very real thing. The chart I've given you shows the completely self-contained financial system that's now working. Not only are Microsoft, NVIDIA, and OpenAI, who we've all heard of, but other smaller companies. I have not yet heard who the company is that's planning to put in this data center, but one of the most common ones is a company called CoreWeave, who started as a crypto coin mining company and is now using enormous amounts of debt to buy chips from NVIDIA, sell their data center usage back to Microsoft and OpenAI, and NVIDIA in turn is investing in them. Basically, all of these companies are investing in each other, and it is as you can see on there, NVIDIA is a $4.5 trillion company. 3.9 trillion from Microsoft. All of them are investing in each other, but none of them are actually producing anything. I believe the current revenue is about 5% of their market cap for most of these companies. Basically, there is a very high risk that this data center could go out of business. The company who's putting it in may stop halfway through construction or after it's been in use for a year when this bubble pops. We've all seen what happened in 2008 with the real estate crisis. So I think that it's very important that you are aware that there's a very good chance that this will be stopped at some point, and we will be left holding the price tag of a stripped and desiccated land with possible contamination to water. And as part of the requirements for them to even be considered for this, I think, as you said, or as I said, there are trillions of cost for restoration of the site up front. If they are, if they have if they go out of business, if the site, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's going to be super successful and they're going to make billions of dollars. Eventually, the site will be decommissioned. Eventually, it's going to be outmoded technology and it's going to be replaced, and we're still going to be left with a desolate landscape. I think it should be a requirement that not only do they have put enough money in escrow for this county to be able to restore the land and donate the land afterwards to either the Shaw Nature Preserve or to Franklin County to be restored, which is what Shaw Nature Preserve excels at, and could be used as a training facility for that. So that's all I had.
Okay,
thank you very much.
solemnly swear that testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
So help me God.
Can you state and spell your name?
Nancy Wood, NancyWood. And everyone has discussed the environmental, the financial impact. What I'd like to talk about is, to you commissioners, why you have not informed the public thoroughly about this meeting. It was only by accident that I heard about this. And I don't care what the law says you have to do. It's what you should do. The data center company did not elect you. Echo Camp did not elect you. They elected you. These people elected you, and you have. My mom had a saying: if people are going hush hush about stuff, it's because they're doing something they know they shouldn't do. So, based on that, I can only surmise that nobody's going to like this, and it isn't right. You're supposed to represent us, not them. So when I go to bed tonight, I'm going to say a prayer for each and every one of you, that you take seriously the sworn duty you took to represent the people. That's it.
You solemnly swear the testimony I'm about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so begin?
I do.
And can you please state the story?
So my name is Patrick LaFarth. I live at 770 Bates Meadow Lane, Pacific, Missouri, 63069. Basically across the Merrimack River from where this is going to be built or proposed to be built. I do not live in Texas. I live here. So, first of all, I do want to thank you all for listening to our concerns and everything. Big thing, I wasn't going to speak tonight. This is all kind of off the cuff for me. But Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul, has encouraged me to get up and do a little bit more involvement in my government. So, and I want to thank everybody else for coming out tonight and talk about this. So I am a 513 operating engineer. You probably heard from some of my hall members, my brothers and sisters tonight. The reason I bring that up is a lot of people are concerned about labor with building this. They think it's going to create a bunch of jobs, which great if it does, but I would not be banking on the fact that those are going to be union labor friendly jobs. Especially if Dave Schatz is the preceding commissioner. Just throwing that out there. I'm not taking jabs at anybody. I'm just putting the facts out there. So, I don't have any other reason. I mean, there's a ton of arguments about power and environmental impact and all that. Other than the fact that I moved out to Franklin County about 4 years ago because I found peace and serenity where I bought my house. And that's what I wanted to keep. If I wanted a hustle and bustle or the hum of a bunch of fans going on, I would have moved downtown in the city of St. Louis, which, by the way, there is hundreds, if not thousands, of abandoned buildings down in downtown St. Louis that could be used for this. I understand tax revenue is a big concern with putting it here, but I'm not convinced it's going to go to that because as a lot of tax hikes happen, they don't always go to what they say they're going to go to. So I'm not convinced that the money that would come from this would actually go to what everybody says it's going to go to. So, and I will go on to a little bit of my experience with one of my concerns, my major concerns, which is the electrical grid. I worked in Labadee Power Plant. I've been inside that plant many times. I've redone the ash ponds that are out there at Labadee Power Plant. If you guys know, there's a big issue with heavy metals in the soil from the fly ash and the bottom ash that comes out of that plant, which they had to remediate. While speaking to some of the Ameren workers that are there, The EPA put strict regulations on Ameren, and they were going to be the last coal-fired plant in the state of Missouri, and they were supposed to end or cease operations in 2040. I don't know if that's still accurate, so I can't say that that's true to this day. This was a couple years ago. So if that's the case, how are they going to manage the electrical load that this data center is going to create if that's the case? Because we're not Callaway, we don't have a nuclear fired power plant, which I'm all in favor of myself. But we don't have that. We don't have that luxury. A coal or a nuclear plant is not going to come soon enough for this data center to be possible. So I just ask that you guys kind of consider that. As Nicholas German, I believe I have his name correct. He talked about solar and a few other things. You're talking a ton of open space. You're talking 1,000-foot setback on this building. That's a ton of room that you could put solar panels. You got that whole roof. You could put solar panels to supplement it. If you are considering this still after tonight, please consider using solar something. One other last point I kind of forgot to mention. Again, this is off the cuff. I apologize. We all remember the 15-16 flooding that happened that affected Pacific, Eureka, and the surrounding areas, right? What is 600 acres of concrete and steel? What's the watershed going to be off of that?
You need to wrap it up.
Yeah. So, if there's one thing this commission needs to consider, I hope it's the electric demand that this is going to put out, the watershed. But most of all, I hope you consider the consequences of your decision to rezone this and allow this to happen. Because even though you may not have to live next to it, we are currently living next to it, and maybe your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren may have to live next to one of these. So that affects them as well. So thank you.
Hi.
Oh yeah, everyone in here that's speaking against him, we're missing Tom's story.
Hi.
Do you solemnly swear that that's more about to give us the truth, so and nothing but the truth, so again?
I'll give you the truth to what I know. Yes, sir.
Spell your name, please.
My name is Marianne Hayden. It's Marianne Hayden. Is that okay? Okay. Thank you for letting me talk. I would like to mention we do have some endangered animals. We do have a bat, and the bat lives off of the vibrations looking for the food in the air. And with this noise going high up, it will affect the bats, and they are amongst the Merrimack River. We also have a sticky frog. He's so cute. He's a peeper, the beep, 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 beep frog. Anyways, that's an endangered frog as well. And we're very fortunate to have this environment around here to live in. And also there's the red woodpecker, the big one. He's at my house every morning. But that particular red pecker, he is also endangered. And if we even hurt him, we get in trouble. But that will be affected as well. And I wrote down one more. In the Merrimack River, there's clams. I remember being in there as a child. But those clams that are in their mussels, they've also, there's an endangerment on them. Because I remember when I found a patch of them, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a patch. But they're also endangered. And this will all be affected with the river, from what I understand, and the vibration that comes off with the noise pollution, I guess it is. Okay, let me go to another one. Light pollution. All exterior facility lighting should be required to carry a U0 bug rating. That's the light should be, if it did come through, which I hope it doesn't. I really don't want it to come down. But anyway, it should go downward. Strict 3,000 K color temperature limit to protect migratory birds, insects, and local residents. And again, I have a light that's already in my bedroom. I already have to have black mini blinds to shut it because the light comes in to my bedroom and light is a problem. So, okay, one more, sir.
Okay.
Even if a closed loop, if water is to be pumped, on-site mandatory hydrogeological survey to prove it won't impact groundwater quality. So thank you for listening to me.
Chairman, can we take a break for a second? Our live feed video stopped working, and our IT director said the only way he knows to fix it is to end the stream and restart it. And then we can get it set up for the people in the overflow room.
How long do you think you'll need?
Hopefully only a couple minutes, but if you would like to take a longer break,
No.